The original HRV had a boxy rugged style, but then, for its second generation, it morphed into a sportier vehicle with crisper lines. Now Honda brings us the sleek hybrid-only third generation model, which is radically different again and bang on the trend. Then again, it needs to be because there are a lot of tempting alternatives available, including the big selling Nissan Qashqai and the Toyota CR-V. Looking to blend in HRV is simply urban camouflage. The styling with the long hood is quite conservative. It is certainly an honest design, with cleaner lines than before and a sloping coupe-like rear end shown off particularly well if you do for the premium sunlight white pearl paint option. Then the only rough and tough element is the front grille and maybe the wheels. Really not much to grab the eye. In my opinion, Mazda CX-30 and Subaru Crosstrek are the cool kids on the block wearing the fancy clothes, but Honda has a very nice interior and that is what many people look at most. So, does the Honda HRV manage to stand out from the crowd? That's what we'll try to find out. Buyers won't have to spend any time wrangling over what power option to go for. The HRV is offered only with a 4-cylinder 1.5-liter engine full hybrid setup, while all models are front-wheel drive. Let's take a look inside. The interior is also impressive, with a high level of perceived quality. You wouldn't call it minimalist, but everything feels smart and well organized. You sit high up in the Honda HRV, so it feels like a proper SUV rather than a slightly jacked up hatchback. The relationship between the steering wheel and the pedals is spot on, and you shouldn't have any trouble finding a comfortable driving position. Although, it's a pity you don't get adjustable lumbar support. Visibility is very good, in part thanks to big door mirrors, and there are well-placed physical dials and buttons for operating the heating and ventilation. Thankfully, the touch-sensitive controls from the second generation HRV have been vanished. Perceived quality is another strength of the car, with plenty of plush, soft touch finishes used. It feels just as well screwed together as the Toyota products, and also has a more stimulating design. Although the materials aren't as brilliantly consistent as they are in the Mazda CX-30. Standard kit is generous, with all models featuring 18-inch alloy wheels, front and rear parking sensors, LED auto headlights, adaptive cruise control, and a 9-inch touchscreen with integrated sat-nav, Android Auto, and Apple CarPlay connectivity. The HRV's infotainment system is closely related to the setup used by the Honda E, albeit in a less extravagant form, fitting on two displays rather than the EV's 5. It's a big improvement over the old car setup and stands up well to its main challenger. The menu page is arranged on a 9-inch screen with large color-coded tile icons for all of the major shortcuts, and there are physical home, back, track skip and volume control to the side too. The graphics aren't quite as sharp as we would like, nor are the loading times quite as quick, but it's still a hard system to fold. The digital dials have a clear white on black design, but they could offer more customization options. The dashboard looks really clean and great. And now look at those great climate controls. These regulators are very well made, are clicking when you are using them, and are also changing the color while you change from cold to warm. This is great show, and you don't see this even in so-called premium cars. Well done, Honda. The gear shifter is big enough and is a traditional one. No experiments here. It's easy to reach and to operate. And here we also have a B mode position, which is thought for the recuperation of the battery. The rear camera, it isn't very crisp and clear. It isn't simply the best in the category, but it is standard in all models. In the cabin, we have the usual storage compartments. There is a decent sized glove box and a bright and deep armrest. In the middle console, we also have two nice big cup holders. The steering wheel is very well made with nice and easy to understand controls on it. On the left side, we have the volume controls for the great Bose stereo system, the telephone, and the control of the voice commands. On the right side are the controls for the adaptive cruise control. Another great touch are the upscale vent regulators. They look and they feel great. There are, of course, also pockets on the door panels, but actually they aren't very big. Door openings are big enough so that passengers will come easy in and out. There is a lot of knee room and there is a lot of foot room as well. You can really stretch out and you've got a pretty much flat floor, so there is a lot of space even for the middle seat passenger. We also have some redeeming features like big pocket bags, and also you have got two USB ports in the rear console. The slightly sloping roofline does impact on headroom a touch, but it's not a big deal, different than it in its competitors, and will only affect taller passengers. In the back seats, there is no through loading, but there are nice cup holders in the armrest. The seats themselves are really comfortable, but the central seat is uncomfortable to sit on because it's a bit higher and has a narrow seat cushion. On the ceiling is located the anchor for the middle passenger seat belt. On the plus side, and it's a big plus, the HRV gets the Honda Magic seats, which fall flat and have bases that flip up like cinema seats. You can remove the seats entirely, as you can in some versions of the Skoda, but then that's a bit of a hassle anyway, while transforming the HRV is a doddle. If you are a family buyer looking for a small SUV that offers decent boot space, then the HRV won't be for you. Many of its rivals, such as the Mazda CX-30 and the Toyota CR-V, provide more luggage room, although that's not to say that the HRV is completely lacking in practicality. You can fold the seats quite easily, and then you have a completely flat floor, which is handy when you are sliding things in and out. In terms of features, in the boot there aren't much there. It's only a couple of tie down points and a hook to hold a bag, but there is no 12-volt socket. Actually, the HRV offers the smallest boot in its class. It's only 320 liters, but in this top trim also gets a fancy Bose audio system. The access in the boot is quite easy, and with its seats folded, there is a huge loading area which is about 170 centimeters long and 100 centimeters wide between the wheel arches. The tailgate can be of course open and closed with gesture, but there is also a proximity sensor which is making access easier. Honda has a reputation for doing things its own way, and while other manufacturers have looked towards plug-in power to deliver lower emissions and help reduce running costs, the innovative Japanese firm has chosen to go with a self-charging hybrid setup for the HRV. The hybrid system uses a 1.5-liter petrol engine that acts as a generator to charge the two electric motors, with regenerative braking tech helping to recharge the battery, producing a maximum 130 brake horsepower. Is the sole available power option for the HRV and is coupled, of course, with an eCVT transmission. Honda does love giving its engine fancy names, with the IMMD moniker meaning the HRV has something called Intelligent Multi-Mode Drive. While not related to any self-driving technology, the IMMD system will automatically switch between electric, hybrid and petrol engine power depending on the type of driving you are doing, in order to provide the best performance and efficiency. Let's take the HRV for a drive and see how it does. The front-wheel drive only HRV has a similar hybrid setup to the Honda Jazz, but here gets a bit more power from its 1.5-liter 4-cylinder petrol engine and the two electric motors, a total of 130 brake horsepower. As with other hybrids, when you start the car and move off, it's very hushed. This calm is shattered if you put your foot down, because the revs are sent soaring to the stratosphere and are held there until you back off. The Jazz and the Honda CHR suffers from the same problem, but neither is loud as the HRV. Its engine knows its course and you feel vibration through the pedals and steering wheel under the sort of hard acceleration you'll need to get up to the motorway speeds in a hurry. There is too a significant upside to the hybrid setup, the impressive fuel economy, which we'll see later. It's a regular hybrid, so you don't need to mess around with cables to charge the HRV's battery, as you do with a plug-in hybrid. That also means it won't travel far at all on electric power alone. Instead, the car switches between the engine and the electric motors as it sees fit. We found that it tends to do more electric-only motoring in towns and cities and use a combination of both power sources on faster roads. The HRV has quiet soft suspension and wafts along pleasantly most of the time, yet it's also able to pass over undulations and speed bumps without feeling overly floaty. You do hear some thugs from the suspension at times though. Other manufacturers are doing it better. As for the handling, the HRV is safe and predictable. That's helped by steering that is accurate and feels naturally weighted. But the combination of a relatively tall body and that soft suspension mean it's not especially agile. If you are looking for something that it is, then the Toyota is the family SUV for you. We found driving in town traffic pretty smooth, with the throttle easy to control in electric mode, although the HRV isn't quite so serene when you are pushing on. Accelerate hard and the engine takes a moment to pick up and direct its power to the front wheels. While the typical drone of the ECVT transmission spoils the levels of refinement. It's a shame because the HRV rides well with little wind noise at higher speeds. The 1.5-liter petrol hybrid setup produces a maximum 129 brake horsepower and 253 Nm of torque. Honda claims the entry-level elegance model is capable of 0 to 100 in 10.6 seconds, with the advanced and advanced style versions adding an extra tenth to the sprint time. The self-charging hybrid setup used by the HRV means there is no need for plugging in, while the combination of the 1.5-liter petrol engine and the two electric motors provides a combined economy of 5.4 liters per 100 kilometers. Our own test of the HRV took in lots of less efficiency motorway driving, but with an average of 5.7 liters per 100 kilometers, we still managed to comfortably beat Honda's claimed maximum. In comparison, its Toyota CHR hybrid 5.3 liters per 100 kilometers and 100 kilograms CO2, while the Seat Arona with a standard 1.0-liter turbocharged petrol engine managed 6.6 liters. We are confident that the HRV will easily exceed 4.7 liters on short in-town journeys. So the HRV is a reasonably practical option for buyers wanting a compact SUV that delivers great fuel economy and useful interior space. Its family car credentials are boosted further by excellent safety kit and decent on-board tech, while the HRV isn't too bad to look at either. The catch is that the HRV is more expensive to buy compared with its close rivals, and while it performs the basics well, it ultimately doesn't do enough to outshine the class leaders. Buyers looking for a little more flexibility may also be put off by the new HRV's smaller boot space, its lack of a manual gearbox option, and only having a single engine choice, albeit Honda's frugal HEV hybrid unit. Honda has got the basics right with the latest HRV. The exterior looks subtly stylish, while a peek inside highlights a simple and well-executed cabin design with good build quality and a pleasing material fit and finish.